I was invited here today, but I'm actually stepping in for a friend who is also a colleague on our group for the Global Movement for the Culture of Peace. Ann Creeder was going to come. She's in New Jersey. And instead, she's gifted me her wonderful deliverance of this speech that she has made and this message called The Logical Solution to the Global Problem of Violence, establishing governmental departments and infrastructures for peace to make nonviolence a global priority. And there's many different levels we can talk about peace. I think this is a really key issue, and that's why I thought it was important to bring and let you all know about it. So if you can bear with me as I refer to her words and to give you an insight into what's called 14P. The Global Peace Index tells us that violence is a significant public health, human rights, and human development obstacle to a just and peaceful world. It also shows us that violence is preventable and its impact can be reduced. Escalating levels of worldwide violence indicate governments are not meeting their basic mandate to secure our fundamental human right to peace. An evidence-based solution to the global problem of violence is to establish governmental departments with the science of nonviolence, making nonviolence a global political priority objective, using ministries and infrastructures for peace, and implementing a resolution called 14P. So UNDP is the primary UN body supporting development of 14P to help countries to establish national peace architecture. UNDP defines 14P as a network of independent systems, resources, values, and skills held by governments, civil society, and community institutions that promote dialogue and consultation, prevent conflict, and enable peace mediation when violence occurs in a society. So to transform from our culture of peace to a culture of nonviolence, nonviolence must become a worldwide focus and peace must be funded. We must work with governments to shift funds from military and small arms support to peace building and making peace a profitable part of our lifestyles. UNDP has shown that creating 14P can reduce and prevent violence and help to implement two landmark UN declarations. The Declaration of Human Rights, which impart more explicit normative standards and global moral directions on how to achieve sustainable peace, and the UN Declaration and Program of Action on a Culture of Peace, which is this little blue book. And this contains the 8 Program of Action areas, which is part of what we focus on as the Global Movement for the Culture of Peace. We create awareness campaigns and educational events to let civil society come together as an umbrella organization throughout the globe, with about 25 organizations working simultaneously on various peace issues. And we work here in New York with the UN to create something called the High Level Forum on the Culture of Peace, which happens the first week of September, which is a day-long event that brings in experts and civil society. Gets a very small voice. We wish it was bigger, and that's what we're all aiming for. But it gives civil society a chance to speak out about peace matters. So to transform from culture of violence to the culture of peace, 14P addresses Sustainable Development Goals. Number 16, Justice and Strong Institutions. And when the SDGs were developed at the UN, passionate debate arose over where peace fit in. And peace advocates thought peace should overarch all the SDGs as conceived in the prior Culture of Peace resolution, not just merely part of number 16, but because all the SDGs are aspects of the culture of peace and vice versa. One does not exist without the others. Without peace, we have nothing. Creating 14P adds a balance and substance to peace and a layer of capacity building and connective tissue that is needed to prevent and reduce violence from more resilient societies. And this is not a new idea, because in 1793, when the US government was formed, so you can see we haven't moved that far ahead really, the founding father, Benjamin Rush, he was a signer of the Declaration of Independence. He advocated for creating peace office of equal footing with the Department of War. At different parts throughout the US history, many departments of peace bills have been introduced, but ultimately they have failed due to lack of political will, funding. And since politics governs the world, civil society must become more politically active to raise the political will for peace. So we the people really, it is key at this time in our history that we work together as global citizens, uniting with all of our diverse values to create the culture of peace. Because violence is inherent in life, and the many sophisticated forms of violence that Rose also spoke about are learned behaviors. And so if that's a learned behavior, we can also learn peace through education and really reflecting on the historical and cyclical destruction of what wars have caused in the past. And I think this generation really understands that and brings that really to the forefront. So we're really looking for your energy to make this shift happen. I think we're really on a cusp, pushing towards that. People in the room know that. People at the UN might know that. We need to educate more people so that there's more people on that side. So the shift actually occurs for mainstream. International grassroots movement that Anne Kreda represents advocates for 14P. Has been in existence for over 10 years, and it's known as the Global Alliance for Ministries and Infrastructures for Peace. GAMIT, GAMIP.org. They do amazing work around the world. GAMIT has 6 international summits with global community from over 50 countries in all continents. They have influenced several countries to have actual and operational ministries of peace. They've set the bar for the rest of the world to start finding funds and creating these internal departments of peace. Some of those countries include Costa Rica, the Solomon Islands, Nepal, and Papua New Guinea. And we've recently heard that Canada is implementing some new legislation and also creating a position for a woman ambassador for peace. And this news came to us through last week's conference in Toronto called World Beyond War, Legalizing Peace. And so they've made some real headway there, and you can see that they're stepping up to make that happen. GAMIT, Global Ministries and Infrastructures for Peace, has been highlighted on a global project in collaboration with the NGO work and an online petition called peacenow.com. And I invite you all to visit that site and please sign the petition. Petition is seeking 1 billion signatures for peace worldwide and asking the UN to pass the General Assembly Resolution 14P, encouraging all countries to develop departments and ministries of peace. And please go there and add your name and let anybody you know who's interested in our future humanity to do that. Because the more we have support through governments, the more the funding will shift and demilitarization is more possible. So in conclusion, if nonviolence were the law of the land, the UN Declaration and Program of Action on the Culture of Peace and the Sustainable Development Goals would be more easily achieved for the manifestation of a truly just and verdant, peaceful world. Recent evidence abounds showing that the effectiveness of 14P as a means to reduce violence to sustainable peace can be realized, and it can be realized in your lifetime and mine, hopefully. With truly troubled condition of the planet right now, it's time to validate and expand the implementation of this resolution as a viable global solution to the global problem of violence. For the greatest measure of human achievement is a non-violent person. And you as youth also have something called Resolution 2250. Thank you. Youth, Peace, and Security, which means now you have a voice at the table of governments. And so all of you in international relations, aim high and go for it. We need you on that side. And so I just wanted to say again that I thank Anne Creeder for this message. She's a retired licensed social worker. She has over 50 years of dedication to peace building. She has worked as a New Jersey State Coordinator, Congressional District Leader on the Board of Directors, and globally she's a UN NGO for the Peace Through Unity and the UN Liaison for Global Alliance for Ministries and Infrastructures for Peace, as well as Global Movement for the Culture of Peace. And she wanted us to know that she was a delegate for Bernie Sanders at the 2016 DNC, and Bernie was the original co-sponsor of the first Department of Peace bill in 2001. Her peace pursuits now include her appointment to County Democratic Committee and grassroots community peace building and organizing. And she's a great leader, so if any of you want to be in touch with her, you can be in touch with her through me. So I thank you for letting me give you that message and accept your.
Thank you. So does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, thank you. That was a great speech. Thank you for that. In your speech, you spoke about the importance of raising awareness. And although we live in a digital world, it seems it is still difficult to raise awareness among young people. So I would like to ask you, what do you think is the best way to raise awareness among that population that would like to make an impact?
Well, first of all, I think specifically that Resolution 2250 would put you in the news if you were a representative at a governmental table, and that would bring focus to youth and youth strength. And I also have the pleasure of working with Daniel Corral on the Coalition for Global Citizenship 2030. And we have a small initiative that we're building little by little. We hope you'll be part of it, which is part of the Generation Global Citizen and iMillennials Youth Reporters, which we want to give platform to youth voice to give us your global solutions and engage your community and your friends in civic action on that level. So I think that's one way to really get the message out on the iMillennials website, Twitter page, and just by talking to each other and getting each other excited about making good changes.
Thank you. I have a question. So Rose was talking about how, throughout your career, you hope to see opportunities for real change, and you've been in your line of work for a very long time now. So I'm curious to know, where have you seen those, and and as long as you've been working on all of this, have you seen any changes that you feel like are worth sharing with all of us?
Well, I have to say that I've been part of the UN community for about 19 years now. I've seen many, many changes happen. Mostly what I see is the NGOs and civil society starting to work together in partnership, changing the dynamics of groups internally so they can be more effective. So I also see that something related to spiritual values and diversity of religion has come forth a long way in the last 20 years. We would never hear the word love mentioned in the General Assembly. We get all excited when we hear that. Many of our groups are engaged in meditation practices, which occur every Thursday in the UN Meditation Room, and you're all invited to come. And we hold the work of the UN in that space and support all of the different departments that require that spiritual base. And the UN Meditation Room sits right underneath the General Assembly. So we feel that we're really connecting our energies and giving forth that spiritual dimension to the work of the